Netflix really said love is blind, but what if we hide the movies? Imagine flirting with someone all night, thinking you found your soulmate, and then you find out they're old enough to be your parent. Let's just say episode 1 already has people catching feelings that they might regret.
Kay Unscripted, no teeth restricted. In this journey, watch our stories unfold.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. This is Kay Unscripted and I am your girl Kay. Today we're getting into Age of Attraction Season 1. But before we do, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this recap with a friend. Now, before we get into this episode, I just want to take a moment to say a quick thank you because this channel just hit 100 subscribers. It may not seem like a big deal to some people, but to me, it is a milestone. I really appreciate everyone who has been watching, liking the videos, and rocking with all of my recaps so far. It genuinely means a lot to me. And if you're new here and enjoy messy reality TV breakdowns like this one, go ahead and subscribe and join the family. You guys, seriously, thank you. Alright y'all, so Netflix has done it again. Just when you thought reality dating shows couldn't get any messier, here comes Age of Attraction. So on this show, it is where people fall in love first and then find out if they're dating someone their age, their parents' age, or their child's age. Yes, that is the premise of this show. There are 40 singles who enter into this romantic social experiment where one very important detail is hidden. Nobody knows how old anyone is. So people are flirting, bonding, catching feelings, all while secretly wondering, wait, is this man 28 or 58? Now, once a couple feels a real connection, they head to something called the promise room, where the truth finally comes out. That's when the ages are revealed, and we know suddenly the vibe can go from soulmate to what am I getting myself into? From there, the couples move in together, meet family and friends, and try to figure out if love really is ageless or is the reality about to hit them like a brick. So today we're breaking down episode 1 where the singles first arrive, the flirting starts immediately, and some people, like I said, are already catching feelings without realizing that they might be dating someone from a completely different generation. Y'all, Netflix just introduced us to Love is Blind's cousin, Age of Attraction. Let's get into it. I must add that the hosts for this show is Natalie and Nick Vile. Apparently they're married and they also have an 18-year gap, so they are the hosts of this show. So the first girl we're introduced to is Libby, who says that people think she doesn't know what she wants, and she also comes off as nonchalant. However, she isn't attracted to men her age because to her they're pretty immature, and she's into older men. We then meet Tristan, who's in real estate, who says he can date you or your mother, and I was like, are you okay? There is something seriously wrong with this Tristan guy. Because what do you mean? The man was 13 years old when he saw Kim Zodiac from The Real Housewives of Atlanta. And when he saw her, he said, yeah, that's what I want. Now, the next guy we meet is Andrew. He said he has 2 daughters. He's more into younger women because it's crazier and more fun, and that just screamed weird to me. Very cringe. He said he's trying to change that around because he does want a wife. I don't know, that's what he said. So we get to Justin, who says he doesn't have a preference, but he likes younger women. So do you realize that this is actually a preference? Okay. So he's on a date with Vanelle, and he's telling her that the color she's wearing goes really well with her. Mind you, it's jeans, because she's like, oh, jeans? Yeah, jeans. Yeah, these men will say anything. So we're introduced to Vanelle. She's a project manager. She said she's here to find her person, and she also let us know that her dad said point blank period, you're not going to get married to anyone who's 10 years older than you. Okay, so she's going to stick to someone who's in their 40s. She's about to have her dad gagged, okay? But we'll talk about that later. So we then get to Pfeiffer. I think that's how her name is pronounced. Very unique name. But I don't know why I heard Swiper. Because I'm like, Swiper, no swiping, but it's Pfeiffer. Anyways, she says that she's looking for an older guy, but they're typically predatory, or might think that she's looking for money. And from what I gather from what she's saying, it can either give sugar baby looking for a sugar daddy, okay? Then we meet Teresa, who says that it's really hard for her to date using the apps because guys don't usually put her age range as their range, so it's never really a match. She also said that she's been married twice and gets really emotional sharing that she's had some really terrible relationships and feels ready for what's right for her. I feel like she probably needs a little bit more time to heal, but that's just my opinion. So every day the singles will be going on an adventure and that will be posted on an activity board. So apparently not everyone will be picked, but those who do get picked will be going on the adventure, and those who don't will remain at the retreat, I guess, to chill or whatever. So it's the next day and we see John and Teresa. He's into her, they're vibing, but she's petrified that he's too young because she has kids aged 29, 25, and 22. And I don't know about, trying to figure out. She does look like she's in her 50s, but, Americans can look really different from us in the Caribbean. So I don't know, if I were to guess what his age would be, I would say he's probably in the 30s, but we get to find out his age in the end of the episode. So stay tuned because you're about to find out. Now, the next date is with Justin and Vanelle. Apparently, she was intrigued by his quietness, so she wanted to kind of explore that connection with him. He said he's a serial monogamist. Now, I personally had to look that up because I haven't really heard that terminology before, but it's pretty much means someone who moves into new relationships really quickly. They're committed, but they move on very fast. And that for me is a red flag because where is the time to heal? Okay, she says that she wants marriage, and when it comes to kids, it's really whatever her partner wants. If her partner wants to have kids, she's good with it. If he doesn't, then she's also okay with that. And I'm just like, girl, that is a bit tricky because you need to know if kids is on your bingo card. Okay, he said he's always wanted kids and feels like he's called to be a father. And he kind of gets really emotional when he's talking about kids because he said he kind of woke up one day and realized that this may never happen to him because he's now 44 years old. But let's hope that he does find someone who is in childbearing years and he could have a family with that person. So the first activity is white water rafting, and that looks like a lot of fun. Not for me, but for them, because someone might ask me, but Kay, you're from the Caribbean. Don't you go to the beach? Yes, I do. I love the beach, but I cannot swim. So you could catch me wrapped up around my husband because he's very tall. But guess what? He's going to bring me back to the shallow parts, or y'all can catch me on shore with the kiddies, okay? You're not about to catch me deep, deep, deep in the sea swimming. I cannot swim, okay? Now let's get back to the retreat. Libby and Andrew having a little chit chat. She's telling him thanks for saving her because they were on the activity together. He calls her a city girl. Side eye, okay? He says that she's his type but gives off youngy because she's a Swiftie. So he tells her, well, let's keep the small talk. Why are you here? She says that the guys she's typically dated are immature in her age range, and she kind of throws the question right back to him. He says he's looking for something different and he's looking for his person. He said that he has 2 kids and asked if that's something she would be into. She said that's not the scariest thing in the world and feels like somehow it shows that he has his life together. However, in her confessional, she said that if she knew that information prior to coming to the experiment, that would have made her spiral. And I'm just like, girl, I hope you know that kids are not your dolls. They're not a toy. So you must make sure that you know what you're getting into because that is a huge commitment. We then see a chat between Jorge and Vanelle. We learn that he has been married at 26 and he got divorced by the time he was 40 years, and he also has two kids. He says that he's feeling the vibe with Vanille, and so far conversation has been really easy. So he asks her what's her biggest passion. She says her faith is really huge for her. So she tries to live her life every day honoring God with her actions. Now that works for him because he said he's a PK. She also shares that she's looking for a man who's God-fearing, a dominant leader, but not overpowering, someone who has integrity, who's respectful, and is easygoing. Now, just watching them talk, Jorge seems like the type who listens to respond and doesn't actually listen, because he couldn't wait to say that he looks for the opposite to him. She said she didn't think they would connect because she's very quiet and he's really loud and out there. But he said he wants a peaceful woman. So he's letting us know that he's toxic, because why do you need someone to calm you down? That's what he said, y'all. He needs someone to calm him down because he's very intense. She feels like he's giving the whole package and she's feeling butterflies already, okay? Let's move on to John and Teresa's date. She says that they're really compatible so far. She makes a toast to them getting to know each other better and having fun, and that man said, "Oh, that's basic, but cheers." Excuse me, what? Basic? The way I would have got up out of my seat and been like, bye. Because what do you mean basic? So we learned that we have yet another field athlete. Apparently, John was supposed to be a professional baseball player but ended up getting injuries, and he has had to do some surgeries, and that changed his career path. She also shared that she was recruited to play softball, and her love for sports came from her brother, who we do learn passed away when he was 18 years. All in all, in their date, they end up sharing a kiss, so sparks are flying, but it may just be the amount of wine that they're drinking, in my opinion. They've probably had too much to drink, but they seem to be connecting. So then we move on to Andrew and Libby. They're having another conversation. He asked about her last relationship. She said it ended 5 months ago, and it ended because that guy had a lot to fix, and she's not Bob the Builder, okay? She didn't come to fix, okay? He says in his confessional that his daughters mean the world to him, and he needs to see potential to bring someone around his daughter and to kind of let that guard down. Now, I think you're going to need more than potential to bring around your girls, but if that's what he needs and that works for him, then good for him. So the next activity is a wine tasting. We then meet Erin, who says that she's open to meeting any of the guys, no matter what their age is. But Tristan is putting it real heavy on her, and he somehow tries to initiate a kiss that she's not really into. This was such a cringe moment because he was literally putting on chapstick, and I'm just like, ew, like, relax. That guy definitely has mommy issues. He said if you're not as hot as his mom, he won't marry you. That was really disgusting to me. I'm just like, ew, gross. Now let's move on to Vanille and Justin. They're on the wine tasting date. She's saying that he makes her feel so comfortable, but she does want to still explore her connection with Jorge. He said that he's a slow lover but feels like him and Vanille connected really quickly. He said for the first 40 seconds of the conversation, he felt like sparks were flying. She's all googly eyed with Justin, blushing a whole lot, and then they end up sharing a kiss. She does tell him that her dad said no older than 10, no more than 10 years, okay? She said she doesn't usually kiss that fast, but she really enjoyed that kiss with Justin, and so now she's in a love triangle with Justin and Jorge. So it's the next day, and Teresa and John are heading to the promise room, right? She's nervous to tell him her children's age and hopes that their connection is strong enough once he finds out all of those things. So they get to the promise room, they exchange rings with each other, and we finally find out his age. Now, again, I'm speculating that Teresa's probably in her 50s, something like that. That's what it's giving. I don't think she's older than that. But come to find out that John is 27 years old. Y'all, the way my eyes opened so wide, because up until that moment, I genuinely did not know what direction this reveal was about to go. I thought he was about to say he was in his 30s, which is what I speculated earlier. But the guy is 27 years old. And if I'm correct, her oldest is 29. She has a 29-year-old, a 25-year-old, and a 22-year-old. Her eldest child is older than him. Whew, that's a lot. In my opinion, that right there is exactly why this show is dangerous, especially with all of the Epstein thing that has been going on lately. People are forming real connections before they actually know a very big detail that I, in my opinion, think is really important when you're dating someone. But the real question is, how are John and Teresa going to actually handle this once the reality starts to settle in, once her children gets involved? How is this going to happen? Not just for her, but for many of the other couples who will be forming these connections. Y'all, and that's the recap for this episode. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I know some of these moments had everybody talking. So if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who watches the show. And if you missed my previous recaps, actually the Love is Blind reunion recap is up. If you haven't seen it yet, check out this video. The link is about to pop up somewhere on the screen. But thank you so much for watching Kay Unscripted, and I'll see you all in the next recap.